Hello and welcome, everyone. Today we're talking about building apps with AI. We're going to be using tons of different platforms today. We're going to be exploring this, but to begin, if you're interested in AI agents and you're a complete beginner, there's going to be a link down below to check out the guide. It's totally free to start using these incredible tools. To begin, we're going to be talking about how to build AI in automation. And then we're going to be breaking down what projects that me and Mr. Hackathon are going to be building today. So, first of all, Dominic, great to see you today. How are we doing tonight, actually, or early morning?
Hey, well, this morning for me.
Yeah,
That's actually tomorrow for me.
that's true. That's true. I'm like, when you mess with me, I'm like, is he talking about like 3 p.m.? What is he talking about? I'm like, 3 a.m. I'm like, good Lord. So thank you so much for taking the time. So we're going to jump right into it. This was a topic we talked about before, but I think it's really important as a building block how we start designing and thinking about building AI and automation, and then we can kind of break down what tools we use and everything like that. It's really sexy to talk about all the new tools and just talk about Lovable, Replit, Bolt, all those things. But we kind of end up in the same exact predicament if we're not kind of thinking about this first stage and going from there. So first of all, if you're new to this, let us know in the comment section down below. What are you trying to build? Have you been using AI such as Lovable, Replit, Cursor, or are you thinking about building something for your business? Let us know all of that in the chat. So we're going to be breaking down building with AI and automation. We're going to be talking about inputs, outputs, and the tools. Dominic, do you mind if I kind of go through my perspective of this, and would you like to add
Yeah,
on,
go
or
ahead.
or
Go ahead.
so when we're looking at different methodologies in building, I want to get down to the nitty gritty of trying to build something with purpose. And so deciding or thinking about the inputs, what we're gathering and what we're putting outputs, that allows us to then pick the right kind of tool and allows us to work with purpose with what the right kind of features could look like. So bottom line, inputs, it's what are we getting? What information are we getting? What kind of data? So the inputs could look like the client is trying to do X. That could be inputs. The client is trying to turn their Word document into a PDF. So the inputs might be a Word document. The output would be a PDF, something like that. It could also look like what data or info am I collecting? I might say, I am trying to enter my weight and I'm trying to calculate what a good percentage of body fat that might look like, right? Or, for my height and weight, what is healthy for me? Something like that. I'm gathering a bunch of data, I'm getting an output or a result on the other side. Dominic, how does that sound as we go through this? Anything you would like
No,
to
that's
add?
perfect. It's exactly how I look at it. I try to break it down into the most simplest form, and all these AI applications and all these automations come down to inputs and outputs. Um, Some of the inputs are user inputs. You mentioned about the weight, or we did the fitness web application yesterday, where you're actually putting in your goals, and then maybe it's generating a workout for you using AI, which is the output. Um, Sometimes we enhance the input. So some of the inputs might be user input plus a hidden input as a developer that we might have inserted, or if we might be a consulting business and we have particular frameworks and methodologies, and that might enhance the user input that produces a specific output. But it all summarizes down to inputs and outputs.
Yeah. And then if you notice that as me and Dominic are talking about, we didn't really mention tools, right? The tool is secondary. We have to first identify this strategy, then we can identify the right kind of tool for the job. And there are hundreds, if not thousands, of tools in the automation and AI. And just wait a couple weeks, and there's other things that are new players in the space. So we're going to be looking at this same exact formula, and this is how we're going to build our projects and go from there. So having that in mind, what kind of project are we planning to build today? And then we'll kind of, maybe go around the horn with a couple different tools and then get to work. So what are you thinking tonight or this morning?
Well, last night we did speak about micro apps, like really, really niche applications. I think especially if we're going to build with AI, I think this is actually where AI thrives in niche single purpose applications. We mentioned about I don't know what to call it, but like really niche communities. So we spoke about the elevator community, like people that are really, really enthusiastic about elevators, people are really enthusiastic about trains, people that are really enthusiastic about planes, plants. So I do think there's something there in these like very hyper specific, I would almost say edge case communities. But if you're not in those communities, you'll think those communities are small, but actually they're really, really big. I think there's something there.
Yeah. And one other thing, I was talking to another creator today. We were just talking about what they could do for their brand and different types of apps that they could create. They mentioned how there's not a lot of organization around LARPing. I'm not sure if you're familiar with LARPing, uh, but we're going to, let the audience know it's a live action role playing. So a
Yeah.
lot of times when people are, dressing up and they're doing different things, the creator was talking about there's not a one community or one place where you can find all of the events taking place based on location or anything like that. So we were talking about either creating a directory of some type and a map where people could input the different events, and then they could look on a map where it's going to be located around the world and in the date and time. So that was another edge case, but I was like, there's nothing out there. And he's like, I'm in it and it's fractioned. There's no one place. I'm like, you could build a micro app for
Yeah.
people to engage and start doing that. So that's just one that happened this afternoon.
So let's go ahead and build that then.
Okay,
Let's go
let's
ahead and
do it.
build that, and I'll figure out, like, because we was talking about AI, so I'll figure out how we can enter AI there.
Okay.
But let's start with the directory part of it.
Cool.
So, do you want to use Replit or create? I would like to kind of play around with Base 44 just because I've been doing
Yeah.
that. Or maybe we could even, I have limited credits, but we could try Lovable or Bolt this time.
Okay, cool. I do have, I just noticed that I didn't cancel my Bolt subscription again. So I might as well use it. I could have swore that I stopped using it. And they're like, oh, thank you for like this month. I was like, what are you talking about? Again?
Yeah.
I'm cutting back, I swear. Hold on one second. So let's take a look. I think my Bolt one, I have Lovable and Bolt. So let's take a look. So you have an existing account. I just said sign in. Let me sign in. Hold on one second. Let's take a look here. I always forget where I'm signing in. So give me 1 second. Let's see, existing with a different email. Hold on 1 second. One moment. Let's sign in. All right, cool. Let's do it. Okay. So we're using Bolt right now. And I think my account is active. Let me verify. Yep. Okay, so let's take a look at this. What shall we do? The first section would be, let's talk about, okay, so if people want to see it, we're looking at building AI and automation. The first thing is, let's think about the inputs. What should I say when we're using this? I think I would probably say I'm trying to create a directory
Yeah.
for events. Yeah.
Yeah.
Say that. I want to create a directory for events. Okay. And I think I'm going to start there. And yeah, let's see what happens. And I'm going to say, let's see. And on the directory, we want to be able to enter different events that users can browse. Let's just give it that information so it knows that what I want to do. And let's roll with it. So I'm using Bolt. As you can hear, Mr. Hackathon, I think he's using base 44 probably.
Yeah.
And let's take a look at what it's going to be doing. So similar to if you've used Lovable in the past or anything like that, on the left-hand side, you're going to be entering what you're doing. In the main section of the application, you're going to be able to preview or look at the code that it's building out, right? So it just mentioned right here, I've created a complete events directory with the following features: a TypeScript interface for event data, sample event data for different categories, and an event card component, an event list, and updated the app component to display the events. So we're seeing this right here. We're looking at it and then going from there. Let's go with tech. And we can see that the search is already filtering based on text right there. Pretty simple. And it mentions right here, you can now browse the events, search the specific event, and see all the events in a clear, modern interface. The structure is set so you can easily
prompt
add more.
again?
Yeah, my prompt. So my prompt was
directory for events. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little bit more specific. Mine's still kind of loading. I said I called it LARP Meet, a directory for finding LARPing events, and I said add a feature section, for you section, and all events section. And I said all events you should be able to filter by location, genre, and game style / type. So that first version I should get back should be specific to LARPing and have a couple sections. So I think it is loading.
Gotcha. When you want to share, just let me know. I'm going to say, so now I'm just adding, great. I want to add a button. I'm just going to say add a button to add more events.
Yeah.
Let's take a look. The only thing I haven't seen, how is it for base 44 for you to understand how your credits are going and everything like that? How is it done for base 44?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I was given a premium version, so I am not actually sure.
Let's take a look. Let's see. 0 monthly messages 25, daily messages 7. Pretty limited. Integration credits 500. Perfect for users who want to try the platform and explore its capabilities. 25 messages per day. Depends on how well it does to generate it. It could give you enough, especially if it's free. I mean, right there. Monthly messages.
I think the challenge for a lot of people, especially if they're not familiar with prompt engineering or these tools, is starting off with 25 a day and you don't actually know what you're doing. You can't get to that version where you can actually see, oh, wow, this is really great. Because there's lots of fluff that goes on when you first use it the first couple of times. So I'm not sure if those pricing is great for new people. Yeah. Because you want them to build something and say, wow, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Let's see right here. I'm also, this is the thing too. When I talk to you, right when you have it, I'm like, man, he already has a better name for his LARPing directory than me. I have
So
to.
I'll show you yeah, I'll show you. This is my real process. So if we can go, if I go to present,
Yeah. Let's see.
I think in previous videos I've showed the audience like I try to reduce the cognitive effort to do all of this. Um,
Do you want me to
and I'm
switch?
not, yeah.
Okay. No worries. Let me remove mine, and here you go.
Can you see my screen?
Yep.
So create names for a directory to find LARPing events, and it just gave me a bunch of names. And I didn't do anything interesting except choose one of them that I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then even then I was like, okay, we spoke about having a location filter. And I said, what filters will we have other than location? And it
Mm-hmm.
gave me a bunch. And I was like, oh, these first two, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Then we go to base 44, and I basically gave it that information. Then I say, hey, I want a details page for each event. So we should be able to filter by genre. We don't have any historical, but we have fantasy. And we
Nice.
can click view details. And it takes us to the details page for that event.
I like that. I like that a lot. What am I
So,
seeing? Google Studio AI? What's this
oh
about?
yeah,
What is
this
this?
is the Google AI Studio. So it
Tell
allows
me a
me
little
to
bit
use,
more about it.
I mean, it's just a studio to use Gemini
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and Gemini tools. It's free, so I use it. I mean, I have paid for ChatGPT in the past, and I've seen all the interesting images people have created with ChatGPT. But similar to you, I try to reduce my subscription costs. So I try to use as much as possible the free tools, which is also why I become fairly proficient in all the free tools, at least up to the point they're free. So
Mm-hmm. Love it. Love it. Love it. In the comment section down below, let us know if this is helpful, what you're trying to build, all those kind of things. That is great. I just took a moment and I renamed mine to LARP Locate for a
yeah,
title for the directory. I, uh, I needed to do that. So next, I'm going to, similar to you, I'm going to say change for each event, or I might say probably for each event, create a details page. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Let's see. Details.
And then, it is important to remember. So what we did yesterday, we gave it a product requirements doc, which I do think can be more efficient on messages, but it also can introduce a lot more errors.
Yeah.
When we do it this way, it does use a lot more messages, but I do think it can reduce the amount of errors at each stage. But
Yeah.
that does require you to know how to break down the project. So I'm like, hey, the first page is going to be a directory, a list page of events. And then from there, you're going to have a detailed view of each event. But you have to have some kind of awareness of all of this.
Yeah. And I think, and the more you talk about it, I think also it might be better. So there's two things that I think about during that part. Number one, it actually might help you to go through that step by step so you can kind of start progressively think about what you need. The
Yeah.
second thing I would say is write down or talk it out or just experiment a user story or what a user would do. If you have the homepage and you're thinking about what the intent, what you want the user to do, what are they going to do next? I want my user to click this section and then be taken where. If you write those things out or have a user story, now you're going to be a lot better at creating with purpose based on what the user is trying to get to. Remember, we said on the outset, the output, what are they trying to do? What does success look like? So building that out is really crucial. So like for this one, for LARP locate, I want them to search for a LARPing event in their area. And then what do I want their action to be? Is it good enough for them to just click on the link to see the event? Do I want them to save the event? Do I want them to now go to the registration and sign up? Finding that end goal will allow you to be more effective of what you need to do next. So, the other thing is I'm probably going to, let's see, now that I have a new page and everything, let's see, what do I need to do? Probably I need to have events that would be located or, like on theme, like how Dominic has for his. I'll change mine because mine are like tech conferences. That wouldn't really speak to my audience right there. And then I might have one other feature of like how to edit the events once they're posted, something like that.
Yeah.
If it's done wrong or something like that. And I'm doing this all without connecting it to Superbase yet. So again, I could probably do this if I was going to market this or get ready. I would probably stop here, make a video of me previewing out the app, having everything there, and then see if my audience likes it, and then go from there. I want some kind of input or validation before I go on, especially for these kind of things like Bolt. If I'm doing multiple projects, it's going to get kind of expensive with Superbase coming up if I'm trying to connect it to a database and everything like that. Now, if I'm doing, using Base 44 or using Replit, it's already going to spin up a backend. But if I'm going to be using something like Lovable or Bolt, think about you're going to be spending some money on a backend quite soon if you're going to be building a lot of your ideas out pretty quickly. Let's see. So I'm going to, Dominic, I'm going to show my screen real quick, and then we're going to pass it back real quick.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second. Let's see this real quick. So I have this right here. It can rotate. I can see the other pages. Now what I'm going to I can add, I like this pretty easily. I can have title, description, let's just say LARPing worldwide. Testing. It has a calendar component. Location, I can say Boston, something like that. And I can say like workshop here. It needs a URL for an image, which kind of makes sense. Let's do Unsplash or something. Do they have LARPing? That would be interesting. Oh, not bad. I'm actually shocked.
They have it?
Yeah, they do have something. That's weak. I would say this is more LARPing than anything. I know someone in the chat's like, actually, that's a terrible like rendition or this event. LARPing worldwide. I have it. Probably also too. I need to add it with the database and everything, just to make sure it saves. But it did work for. Let's see about this. And I'd probably use something like Komodo or something like that to record what my screen is, and then I would just test it with my audience and see if people would care. with that. Okay, location, Boston. Create, have it right there. It added it. So the functionality is there. And then probably, should we kind of talk about the next thing that we might add, being a map or something like that? Should we talk about that or
Yeah,
go on to
yeah.
the next thing?
I've kind of gone in a slightly different direction just because I have to go relatively soon, and then I have to go in about 20 minutes. But I have started to add my AI features.
Do you want me to share your screen?
It's loading right now, but we mentioned yesterday, so a directory is good, and keeping things as simple is super good. I'm always thinking about differentiators too, and there's some low-hanging fruit differentiators that we could use. If we look at I think Eventbrite do actually have this. You can use AI to generate like the event information. So you can say, like, give a brief description, and it might generate a title for you, a description. It will generate all that information for you, reducing that friction to actually creating events. And so I have added this. So if we take a look,
Take a
do I
look
have to
here.
share? Oh, sorry. I think I
No
might
worries.
have removed it.
No worries. No worries. There we go. Hold on. Okay, I'll add it. There you go.
If we take a look, what was the last thing I did? So I added an event button to create an event. We can see now that we can create an event manually or AI assisted, where you just type in a 3-day sci-fi fantasy. I don't know how to spell fantasy. Let's say Afro fantasy, and hit generate with AI. And let's just see what it does. And what it's doing is filling that in for me. So obviously I'm changing the organizer name and all this other information. I can change the genre, the game style. Let's say, I don't know, role play heavy. And I can go ahead and create the event. One of the next AI features I'm going to add is creating an image. But for now, let's just create this event, see if this works. And you can see here that it does work. Perfect. We are going to use Eden AI to create the image. So Eden AI is what I call an AI API aggregator. So they don't produce the APIs themselves, but they bring in OpenAI, they bring in Claude, they bring in Azure, they bring in lots of different AI APIs into one place to make it really, really easy to interact with. So what we're going to do is use, you can see here it has document parsing, generative, image, speech, text, video. I think what we want to try and do is use the image and see if they have one where you can actually generate images. And it doesn't look like they have one that can generate images. Object detection, OCR, question answering. I'm not sure if we can use any of this for our specific use case, which is super, super interesting. Let's see, in generative, users can generate a video. Okay, image generation. So you can see right here, they allow you to use Replicate, they allow you to use Amazon and lots of different, you can see what the cost would be. And we can even test it. So we can say, what do we want to? Afro tech sci-fi role play. And we go ahead and hit launch. And it might take a second or two.
And tell the audience, so what are we doing right here? Could we give an overview what you just did and what we're going to produce afterwards?
Anytime we had the inputs, we had the outputs, and we had the tools. So what I'm working on now is the tool section for generating an image for our listings. So when we create an event, you could say image URL, or we could add like a image picker field where users can upload an image. But here right now it's image URL. But we might want the user to generate an image with AI. And what we're doing here is working on what tool do we want to be able to do this. We know we're going to use Eden AI, but like, how are we actually going to do this? And we can see that these are Amazon produced this, Leonardo produced this with the same prompt. Replicate produced this, which is not the best to me. Stability AI produced this, and I don't know what's going on with this I. And to me, it looks like Amazon was actually the best. And so we might actually use Amazon. And the way we can do this, we can either do this with the code, or we can do this with Make. So I think we're going to do with this with Make. And what I'm going to do is create a new scenario. For those that don't know, Make is an automation platform. It has, similar to Zapier, it has hundreds and thousands of apps that allow you to automate almost any process that you want to automate. And in this case, we are going to automate the process of creating an image for our listing. So we are still going to use Eden AI, but we are going to use that via Make. So what we're going to do is, the first thing we have to do is create a custom webhook. And that's a way to receive the data. So we're going to send information from our listing here. We're probably going to take the event description, and we're going to send that to Make here. So we need the address to send it to. So we're going to say, I can't remember what I called mine. What was the name? I'm just going to find the name that I called it. Lot Meat. And let's just save that for now. And then I'm going to find Eden AI. And what I want is image, generate image from text. And I think I already have my connection with Eden AI here. And so it's asking for the text, and the text is going to be a variable. One of the great things about Make is you can use information from previous modules. So I am going to send the description that will be here to Make, and that will fulfill this text placeholder. Does that make sense so far?
Yes. It was, yeah, no, keep going. And let us know in the chat if we're doing something or if you have questions, but let us know. This is great.
So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to tell Base44 next to image URL, the user should be able to generate the image with AI. Now, because Base 44 can take care of all of this for you, I need to explicitly say we're going to use make. So I'm going to say by sending the description of the event to make at the URL and using the returned image. And I'm going to just say there must be an event description. So make is still waiting to get information from Base 44 for us to actually test this. Hopefully I'm not moving too fast.
No. And if people want us to do more or talk about even more, please let us know in the chat. But I think this is a good overview as you're going through this. This is good.
Yeah. So we just give it a second or two to load. I do actually think there's an interesting opportunity here. I'm not sure if this is a service or product in itself, but as this is loading and people are waiting for all these AI tools to load, there's an opportunity for something. I don't know if it's ads, like honestly, who wants ads? But at the same time, I do think there's an opportunity here, or even for me to receive the text notification anytime it's done.
You know, that's funny. I use something called transcript.lol for all of the, basically it does a lot of the transcription and just a lot of AI writing based off of my YouTube video. One of the best
Yeah,
features I love where it's just like, yep, I'll email you when it's done. Like,
yeah,
and I'm like, thank you so much. I
yeah.
think, what did we use
I do
yesterday?
think there's something there with AI where, especially when we're talking about agents, and agents might take some time. Just email me when it's finished. I mean, it sounds like a super simple feature, and to me, it is a super simple feature. But it's one of those powerful things.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see here, it's added this generate AI image, but we can't do that because we don't have a description. So we just type in anything. You can see now we have generate AI image, but we are going to go back and we're going to say a 3-day sci-fi battle royale. Hit generate with AI. So now it's generating the event information with AI. And we're going to hit generate AI image. And it ran into an error. Great. But let's just see if... Okay, it did run into an error. But the good thing is that Make did actually receive the information. And I think it ran into the error because we didn't send anything back to... We didn't send anything back to our application.
Okay.
So what we're going to do again, and I'm actually going to remove this for now, is we're actually going to run this again. Oh, sorry, wrong tab. And it doesn't actually know, it doesn't know that the error wasn't with base 44. So I need you to go back to how you was. Let's see if this does it.
And so right now, what are you putting in the error for it to understand what's happening, or you're giving it more different instructions?
So it doesn't. What we had in this, and you've mentioned before that I'm using make really unconventionally. Um, Base 44 doesn't. We didn't have our make integration completely set up, so we were sending information from Base 44 to make, but Base 44 was waiting to get information back, and it wasn't receiving any information back, which was causing it to throw an error. And
Mm.
so what we are doing now is trying to finish this make into integration and just trying to troubleshoot that. So maybe while I do that, do you want to flip over to your screen?
Yeah, yeah, sounds great. And let's see, Anthony. Let's see. Anthony said something. Oh, let me remove this. I'm going to go back to mine for a second, and I'm going to be bringing up. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a whole video on this, but it's Dreamflow. It's Flutterflow
Okay.
just came out with their own text to application platform.
Interesting.
So I might test it out tonight and then make a new video on it. But I'm going to try that out. Let's see what Anthony has to say. Hey, Doc, I will watch the replay tomorrow. I'm up early. Yeah. Wow. Hey, man, your content is among the top tier on YouTube. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate what you're doing and your co-hosts are building this evening. Big thanks to you both. Hey, Anthony, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate all the kind words, and we're here to help. So let us know in the comment section what you're building, how we can help, and all of those kind of things. Let's take a look at Dreamflow. So Dreamflow is a kind of, I would say, a small project from the Flutterflow team and everything like that. I'm going to first show the video of like the promo for it, and then I'm just going to get right into building. And so let's take a look at what we can do here. Let's see. So let's talk about Dreamflow. Look at their announcement video and it real quick. So let's see. Can I watch the video? So what do we got here? Okay, so you're seeing that you can use it as a PWA or progressive web app. Some people are using it kind of like to generate small games. I would say that if you're trying to do something with, I'd say like Build Box or something like that, there's something there. Let's turn it down. So similar, they're going to be using Dart, which makes a lot of sense too. So this could be used for mobile apps and iOS. That's interesting. I mean, they're already using a lot of what they've learned from Flutterflow over the years. So we're seeing certain kind of games people could be doing. Interesting. And if
And
anyone knows,
does this turn
say,
into iOS games? Like what am I
yeah.
what's the out?
Well, let's take a look at what it's. Let's see. You wanted to make it a game or something? Let's see. You download the code, obviously. Then you take Dart and everything like that. See, this is the thing, right? If I'm going to do this, I think we've been talking about this. I am trying to, this is a question that I get constantly. Constantly, I get this question. And maybe this is good for, if it can make an online game. I get a request, a lot of creators, to create an app where you can have a custom keyboard to basically do hotkeys to answer your YouTube questions faster. So like it's for creators that are constantly trying to answer the same question over and over again. They want to create their own custom keyboard to like have like snippets of conversations that they can just drop in, or like everyone keeps asking them like their tech stack. Well, what if you had a a saved response where it'd have all of your affiliate links and you could just drop your top 10 over and over again in all the comments. That's what I've been trying to build with Replit. it hasn't really worked. I wonder if something like Dreamflow could do it, especially
Yeah.
because it was basically you would need the functionality of Dart. But that's what I'm thinking. I mean, we could just make a video game real quick, but that's what I'm thinking about. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, let's play around with a video game while in the back end I kind of tweak what I got
What?
going on. Um,
What? What
I'm
kind of
not
video
sure if
game?
people know. So
Yeah.
we are at the 27th today. I think there's like a 5K competition
Hmm.
from Peter Levels for the game jam. So I don't know.
Ooh.
Maybe if we go over to Twitter and see some of the games people are producing with AI.
What is going on? I didn't hear about that.
So Bolt has like a hackathon coming out, right? That's like over
Yeah.
$1 million in prizes. But Peter Levels has a competition too, which is a game jam. So if we type in levels, let's see. Yeah, and go to levels IR.
I didn't know he
So
was
this is
doing
the
that.
game he created.
Yep.
And I think apparently it's getting like 70K. I'm not sure if I'm going to get this wrong, but it's bringing in 70K a month. He built it with Cursor, and it's basically just Cursor and Three.js, which is like a JavaScript library to create 3D environments and experiences. And what
Hmm.
he did, he sold ad space that are blimps and air balloons, and all the game is a massive multi-online player game where the user can fly through the sky, and people built sailing versions, people built car versions, but this is the game jam that he is working on.
Let's see. I didn't know
So
anything about. Mhm.
if you click on that one, potentially you can see other people created in the comments.
Okay. Let's see. That's pretty funny. I missed this one. Let's see. Seeing people talk about it. Let's see. Oh, I remember this Vibe Sale. I heard about this one. That's just so funny to me. You know what it reminds me of? I gotta send this to my dad. You know, I think my dad would just be pissed off at this actually.
Why?
Because he would, you know what, maybe I'm going to be positive with it.
This is pretty good, man. Like,
This is,
again, this is made with no code. So, and I asked, why would your dad be pissed? Because this is the gaming community. This is the game dev community. The game
yeah.
dev is indie. The game dev is like, hey, let's just build and ship. The game dev community is like small niche things made on Steam.
Hmm.
Like usually we're talking about the big titles, but actually the game dev community is like niche and indie.
Yeah. No, I I'm gonna take it back. I think he would just be confused because he loves sailing, and if I'd send him this, he'd be like, you know what? I'll just send it tomorrow and see what happens.
So here's what I would do. So if we go back to that sailing one, right?
Hmm.
I don't know how exactly the best way to execute it, but I would be like, hey, I know how to make this go viral. To make it go viral, there's people that do the driving simulators.
Hmm.
How can I make a sailing simulator?
Yeah.
Could I make a steering wheel that's like for boats and have
Hmm.
people say sailing simulator that's specifically for boats.
That's pretty funny.
And maybe that's a Kickstarter project to have the hardware to be able to do it. And to me, it's the same or very similar hardware to the driving steering wheel, but just shaped for boats.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I could see that. I could see that. Let's see. Join a race, leaderboard. That is funny. Just super funny. I will say I do like. I think it gives a lot of power back to people if they just want to. How can I say it? It gives the power to have a true, like, again, indie studio or a cottage studio, anything like that.
Yeah.
And again, if I know a lot of people, I feel like it's the same way. I think we were talking about this yesterday. The people that hate like no code 5 years ago, it's the same kind of hate that I see again with vibe coding and just doing this. So that means it's going in the right direction. It means that it's allowed to do it. I just don't understand when no coders are trying to hate on it. They're like, this isn't sustainable. I'm like, you guys sound just like the coders, were talking to us like 5 years ago.
So here's where I think it's gonna go. Or here's one possible future. And I'm not sure if I will build this, but here's one possible future. Right now, it's Dominic or Doc talking to the AI. What I would envision is the AI is just listening to Dominic talk to Doc and vibe coding in the background. So you might say, hey, yeah, I think we should add, I don't know, a details page. And then the AI asks both of us, hey, do you want to add a details page? We say yes. And it adds it. And me and you are having the conversation, but the AI is just kind of building in the background. And I think that's where it can get super, super interesting. Because now me, you, and Karima can just talk about interesting app ideas, and it can just build and build and build and build in the background based on what we're talking about.
That's interesting. I do like that. That would be really interesting. That'd be really interesting. I guess there would have to be, making sure it understands the context and not going off the rails based on the conversation. But I still think I like that a lot. Real quick, we have a comment, and then of course time check, making sure we get you out on time.
Yeah.
Benjamin says, I have a great idea for a new app that could disrupt the entire home service industry. Would you be interested in helping out with it? Benjamin, it depends. I always love hearing things. It depends.
You know why I'm laughing? Because that was what was going through my mind. I'm gonna be honest. Anytime that's said, I'm kind of skeptical, but I'm usually skeptical just because of the way I approach ideas. I'm like, hey, niche, small. That's kind of how I like what we're building is for the LARPing community. That's super, super niche, right? But like for the sake of time, I do actually have this working, so I can show you.
Adding to the stage. We'll talk about, I don't, you already know, Dominic. Keep going. But if you want, send me an email. We'll go from there. But keep going.
So what we was doing is we've integrated with Eden AI, which is an AI API aggregator. And in Eden AI, we are using the Amazon text to image generator via Eden AI. And the way we are doing this is using Make as kind of our automation layer to do this. And if I hit run once, it's listening for anything coming from our base 44 application. I'm going to create an event, and we already have the AI assisted event creator. So we are going to do a 3-day sci-fi battle royale, and we're going to generate the information for our new event with AI. And so it's generated. And now we're going to generate this AI image, which is going to take the description and generate an image from that description. So we're going to hit generate AI image. And if we go to make, oh, we actually, this might throw an error. Let's hit run once again. And if we go generate AI image, and that was super, super quick. It's actually throwing an error now, which isn't good. Let's just say, let's change this to a sci-fi battle royale. Let's go ahead and just save this. I'm just going to refresh this. This test, and we are going to generate an AI image, and now it's processing. Processing, and it's generating the image. So if we actually go back to base 44, we can see it's generated the image. And if I go create event, I have my image there. I can go to view details, and it has my image. Now, if I want to change the dimensions, I can. Currently, these dimensions are like square dimensions. So I would go to Eden AI here, and the resolution is 512 by 512. I could change that. So I don't have too many options here. So I might want to actually find a way to readjust this. But I have successfully integrated Make. I have successfully integrated Eden AI. I think the next thing we would want to do is try to think about how we're going to get users to pay. So I would actually integrate Stripe probably for users to pay.
Yeah. And I wonder, even for probably the first one or the first couple, can I just have it linked to my Venmo or something to see if I'm testing if anyone pays me, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
go into, I'm always like that. Maybe it's a problem. I'm always like real quick testing, but I love that. Could you just very briefly, what were the errors that were you getting, and how did you resolve the errors? How did you progress through seeing the errors and then making the changes with May? Could you just talk about that briefly?
Yeah, the errors I was getting. Okay, first and foremost, base 44 or really Bolt or any of these doesn't necessarily naturally integrate with Make. And that's probably not the best way to describe it. Anytime you send information via API, information has to come back. And the way we had it initially, we didn't have this webhook response. So we were sending information to Make, and base 44 was like, okay, I said hello to you. Where's my hello back? And when it wasn't receiving a hello back, it was like, oh, there's something wrong. But there wasn't something wrong with base 44. There was something wrong with how we set up Make. So what I did is, you can see here that it's taking the description, a sci-fi battle royale, and I'm using that in this module, but I had to run that module once or twice to make sure I'm getting the right information. And once I was getting the right information here in this custom webhook module, I can then successfully put it there. And once I could successfully put it in the text in the text variable or the text parameter, then I could generate the image, and I can use the generated image in the body of the response. And then it was getting the response back. Is that clear?
No, that was great. That was great. Very clear, and a progression of how you can be using Make. Again, Dominic, I keep telling you this. I see it on the internet all the time. I'm not making this up. I have never seen someone use Make so much in these projects. It's refreshing. It's also like very interesting and fascinating. So that's why I'm always asking you questions to do it. So this has been great, man. Remember, in the comment section down below, let us know what you're working on. If you want to get the AI Agents for Beginners resource guide, the link is down below. And let us know if you like these kind of streams. If you want more information, if you're trying to do this, you know, me and Dominic will be coming back soon with some new other programs and everything like that. But again, it's all about the fundamentals for you to take advantage of using AI on automation. Think about inputs and outputs. Let us know about the project. And again, too, Benjamin, email me. We'll see what happens if we can talk and everything like that. But the purpose of these streams really are to empower you to use these tools to build the app of your dreams or the niche product micro app that you can really change your industry or your community. So again, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back soon with more episodes, including testing out the new platform Dreamflow, and we'll see you in the next video. All right, everybody, have a great night.
Bye.